Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to Disc Golf Chat. And today I have the world record holder I butchered it already. The world distance record holder, Jennifer Allen. Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm good. Wrapping up a busy Monday that I didn't plan on being so busy, but it was good. I got a whole bunch of stuff done. So
Mhm. You have so many sponsors. We'll run through these right quick because I always put the business
okay.
first, but I'm going to put the business second today.
Okay.
First, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to the people of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Just had some tornadoes there, and
3 rounds of it. It started, I believe, on Friday night was the first big one that hit in the middle of the night. Actually got the elementary school from the town the school I went to, the town that we moved from. So it was about 5 miles maybe from my dad's house, no damage at all there. And it was really only the school that got hit in our little town. And then it kind of hit Oklahoma City more, maybe a little bit of Norman as well. And then they woke up the next morning and then had another one Saturday. And then they had, I guess it was Saturday, Sunday, and then today. They had 3 straight days of tornadoes. So it's been a lot for everyone in Oklahoma. It's November. So it's not something that you typically have to deal with. Missing school for tornadoes in November just really isn't a thing. So definitely thoughts and prayers for everyone out there in Oklahoma. And hopefully today was the last day that you have to be weather aware.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about it, I was like, they don't have those this late in the year.
The last one that was as late as that I remember was in October. We had one, I think it was like October 13th or something like that. That was actually a pretty bad tornado as well. But yeah, that's pretty late. The temps are a little high and a huge cold front comes through and it's just like summertime there. So
that's kind of like the hurricanes. It seemed like they were late this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was crazy. I looked on my phone last night at the temperatures and it was here in Arizona, it was 55 degrees last night and it was still 65 in Oklahoma. So still had a lot of moisture and humidity to make this storm that happened today. So
now, how hot is it during the summer there? If you're
hot.
out playing and stuff,
You're not out playing in the summer. You have to play 6, 7 in the morning during the hot of it. We had record, like everything else, we had record breaking everything this year. We were double record breaking every day. So we had our morning high low. So our morning lows were still like 80 for every day. And which is breaking records. And then we were going over, I want to say it was like 160 something days, over 100. But then we broke for however many 110s and however many 120s, like any record you could break. I think we pretty much broke it this year. So it was extremely hot. But then, man, when it cooled off, now it's like I'm in long sleeves and hoodies and it's chilly. So it happened quick, but we were ready for it. It's absolutely gorgeous out right now. So this is why Arizonans put up with 160 days worth of 100 degrees is for right now till March is just perfect.
well, as I always hear in Virginia, well, y'all don't have much humidity.
We have none. We have absolutely none.
It's
Occasionally.
118, but it's low humidity.
Yeah. And that does make a huge difference. You don't go out and just sweat like, going to Oklahoma and Kansas for Junior Master Worlds, like it was 80-ish degrees on some of those days. And we had people going down with heat strokes. So it was just so humid. So it doesn't feel anything like that at 100 degrees here. So find a shade tree and it's beautiful still.
Was that is that Oklahoma City?
Tulsa.
Tulsa. I watched a lot of the I guess it's the post coverage, and you did a lot of commentary and stuff on that. And
it was so fun.
And you were I saw you out there many times. Well, I wasn't there, but on camera stuff out there with so many of the kids out there, and I was like, that is so awesome.
That was probably one of my highlights of the year. I would think being there not only for like the end of a junior team,
Mm-hmm.
And our women, I'm the women's captain, but I was there to cheer on everyone. But I did stick around with the girls all week long and did commentary for I guess it was the 18s, the highest
Mm-hmm.
one, I think is what my commentary was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but got to announce a lot of the girls for like FJ12. I think might have done the 10s one day too. So it was just amazing to go back home to Oklahoma and be a part of such an incredible event. The team from Tulsa did an outstanding job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember hearing any complaints, even with the hot weather. And I think we might have had a little bit of a storm come through at that time too, maybe. But it was perfect. Everyone had a great time, plenty of fun stuff for the kids to do, and I really look forward. I don't know where Junior Worlds is next year. I don't remember, but I think it's in Kansas. Actually, I think it's in Emporia. So not that we're all kind of over Emporia. We feel like we live in Emporia.
Mm-hmm.
But more than likely, I will 100% be back in Emporia to help with Junior Worlds next year.
Well, I've never been there, and that's one place I
Oh
definitely
my
want to
gosh,
go.
how have you not been to Emporia?
I live in Virginia. It's a little bit of a hike, a little bit.
Yeah, we have, I feel like at least 2 events there every year. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, it was fun for a while, but now we've been there so many times. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to play somewhere else.
So, yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that later on, but you know what? Since we're right here at it, let's ask. When you play at like every year, it does it. It I'm sure it loses the special being special at some of the courses like Emporia, and there's so many courses that are being built that are absolutely amazing.
Right.
I mean, is there any way to spread it out without burning out all the players traveling?
No. We play so much.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely courses, like USDGC, Throw Pink, that I would not want to miss. I hope that I
Yeah.
continue to qualify for that for a few more years at least, because that course is so iconic. You want to play it no matter what. It doesn't matter if you've played it for 20 years, you're still excited to go back and play because it's such a prestigious event that you have
Mm-hmm.
to qualify for. And so most of us, I would think, would feel very honored to be there and to play at that course. So that's a course, no matter what, I always hope to go back and play. There's definitely a few more that maybe just aren't some of my favorites that I would be like, where's somewhere I haven't played yet? I would love to get to Canada. I've been trying to say that for a few years. So I hope that I can make that happen. And there's a few more, states and big events that my schedule just never really worked
Mm-hmm.
that I could get them in. So I hope this coming season, I'm about to sit down and kind of pencil it out. Can maybe fill in at least 1 or 2 new events, and then make a lot of my favorites that I've hit the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those are because of courses, and then some of those are because the friends that I've met over the years at those events, and I go back and stay with them and get to catch up with them, and visit friends and play golf. So a lot of my favorite events are actually because of the people that I go see.
Yeah, I was talking to Nate Sexton. Was he's been around for a few years,
Yeah,
and
just a
I
few.
asked him about his passion from when he started to now. He said the biggest thing was that he still has a passion to play, but
Yeah.
now it's more of the people as opposed to just going out and playing and playing and playing.
Yeah, and I think that's been almost my entire career. Like
Mm-hmm.
of course I love to throw.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than golf. I would say way more than golf. I love to see a frisbee fly. I
Mm-hmm.
love to try as hard as possible and see what I can do to it. Where can I make it hit a full flex? Can I hit a huge spike hyzer over a tree? Can I get a huge Annie around something? So I love to be able to change my wrist angles, change how the disc that I'm using, and see what I can create for that flight. Um, that's my passion. I
Mhm.
truly just love to really throw the disc. But then I've always just had the love for the people in the game,
Mhm.
and the people that it has brought into my life is irreplaceable for sure.
Mhm. All right. How did you? This is normally my first question. How did you get started in disc golf?
Back in Oklahoma, my ex-husband played, and when we were dating, he lived right on the one of the oldest disc golf courses in the U.S. It's Lions Park in Norman, Oklahoma. So I got to learn from the Hall of Famer Mitch McClellan, who is absolutely incredible, and several other just OG guys that had played there at that course forever. And so when I started in '99, there were just a handful of women around, and a couple in the state. Usually I had to go to Texas or to Missouri or Kansas or wherever else to try to find other women to play with because there wasn't very many. A lot of times, spent a lot of time down in Texas as well. But so a lot of times I played with the boys, which was actually great
Mhm.
because I immediately started throwing far, wanting to throw as far as them. Um, I don't remember exactly who it was, if it was Mitch or who, but one of the guys, I just always give the old guys credit, told me the further I reach back, the further I would throw. And so, no YouTube back then, no videos to
Yep.
watch, no social media. And so I just reached back as far as possible. And being a gymnast and very hypermobile, um, I have a lot of mobility. And so that reach back got pretty big.
You have a very unique throw,
Yes, for sure.
and I've said, I don't know how much comparison, but I always look at Eric Oakley and I look at your
Mhm.
throw, and I
Yeah.
see very similar.
Yeah, he has a very dynamic reach back as well.
Hmm.
So, it's so funny. I posted people ask for slow-mos all the time, and I so I always just kind of forget to record them. Also, side note, we don't typically have all of us, some do, camera crews that go around with us when we practice and play. So that's not
Hmm.
really a thing for
Hmm.
everyone. And so occasionally I'll have someone out with me when I'm practicing. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll record a slow mo. And so I did, and I posted it, and it was really cool. I loved it. Of course, the keyboard critics that have no clue probably what they're even talking about. They probably don't even
Hmm.
really play competitive. Always give their great critiques like, "Oh, your reach back's too far," and "Oh, you don't rotate like everybody else rotates," and "Oh," it's like, I don't really care actually
Hmm.
because this is my throw. It's
Yep.
how I've thrown forever. It's clearly worked for me, and I don't plan on changing it. So for all the haters,
Yeah.
sorry. Do
the,
it your
the,
way. I'm
the
not
biggest
changing.
question I had for you is because you come through so fast.
Mhm.
I didn't even see your arm bending.
Yeah, yeah,
N-
it bends.
Yeah, I will get to a part where I actually finally saw it bend in a little bit, because there's one place I was like, it is bending.
It's probably the slow-mo that I'm talking about. Maybe. Is it recent slow-mo?
It was 2023.
Oh, no, so it's a different
It
one,
was
but yeah.
during a tournament.
Oh, okay, got you.
It was one where you threw a pretty big shot.
Yeah. Yeah, funny, it works, yeah, so, coming through quick to get the power and the velocity on the disc that I do, um, I'm not Gannon Burr. I'm not Anthony Barella. I'm 5'4".
Whoa.
I'm probably 5'3", to be honest.
I did
And
not know that.
and so those guys that are super tall and very lanky, they don't need to be stronger because they're using their arm length to create the longer length that puts the velocity on the disc. When you do not have height or extremely long arms, you have to generate your power elsewhere. Mine is my core, my hips, and that tightening of those muscles at the same time pulling through. And so that's where I generate my power. That's why it's very fast.
Yeah, I throw like my backhand. I mean, you met me. I'm all of 5'5" on a good day. I mean, I honestly, I started really late, and I got my buddy here, and
Let's get in the way a little
those
bit.
aren't abs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm throwing like 200 when I really get a hold of one. It's bad technique. That's it. But hey.
And it is harder to learn that if you're starting older. I have
Mhm.
people that ask for lessons quite a bit, and they'll be like, "Okay, teach me how to throw really far." Like, it may or may not happen. Like, we can correct your form, and
Mhm.
we can change your disc a lot of the times. It's I will never say my form is the right way to do it. It's how I do it.
Mhm.
But there are certain things that do help, or things that you can stop doing to improve your shots. It doesn't really matter how big or tall or whatever that you are. There's certain things you need to do correctly. But a lot of times, just changing the disc, changing just a couple little tiny things will give you, sometimes 50 feet.
Mhm.
And I think that's a huge improvement that most people are happy with if they can get that added to the distance.
Mhm. Oh, I mean, I said if I could get to 250
Mm-hmm. Yep, 50 feet.
consistently, I was like every course around here in Lynchburg area, except for New London Tech,
That's the one.
I could play pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, you
And
played New London. That's a beast of a course.
sometimes the longer courses do great for people who don't throw as far
Hmm.
as well, because then everyone is throwing a second shot. So it becomes on people who actually throw less distance will be accurate
Hmm.
and in the middle, and then have a great approach. Their approach is always very accurate because they have to, right? They don't have the distance. So
Hmm.
the approach and the putting is where their game tends to fine tune a lot faster. So I think people sometimes are intimidated by playing longer courses, par fours and par fives, when they can't throw very far. They're like, oh, that course isn't for me. I need shorter courses. Try it. You actually might beat people who throw further, because you were all throwing two shots. So,
I will say this: I played the longs there one time. Well, I played a few times there, but and my best is 55 over par.
oh, jeez. I thought I was like 55. That's great. I don't remember what par was, but that's awesome.
It's par 68, but
Okay.
it's 55 over par.
It's a tough
But
course.
I will say this: I now have a forehand, and my forehand on a good day, I might get up to 300 on that.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
Nice. Yeah.
It may not be
Definitely
accurate.
on those wooded courses, having a forehand is very helpful.
Hmm. Okay. You mentioned it. Oh no, what happened?
Oop, lost him. Stay with us, everybody. Let's see.
Oh, I'm okay.
There, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can't
yeah,
see you.
my laptop just shut off.
Plugged in?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. That was scary. Uh, if it does it again, I mean, I will start it right back up, and says it's charged. I don't know. Okay, you mentioned uh, your a little bit of your activities when you were younger. Like, what
Yeah.
kind of like sporting events or sports did you do? Because I've heard some, and I just don't know if they're true or not. But
I pretty much did anything that our school offered. It was a little
Mhm.
country town, and back in the day, we didn't have all the sports that the kids do now. Our school didn't have soccer, we didn't have volleyball at the time. Then these are sports that they have now. But back when I was in school, we basically had your main sports like softball, or fast pitch, and basketball, and track and field, and
Mhm.
cheerleading. Um, I don't think I'm missing any of them. I think that's pretty much it.
Gymnastics.
Well, that was along with cheerleading.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I did all of them until high school, and they made us choose one sport, because basketball and cheerleading, like, might have, yeah, I think it was basketball that our championships, or the main things that we needed to be there for, the kind of coincided. We lose you again? Reboot. Need some Jeopardy music playing.
I'm here again. I
Oop,
yeah, I know. I hit the wrong button. I don't know why it's doing that. It has never done that before.
there we go.
Yeah.
You're back.
If it cuts off again,
We can stop and start over, I guess.
yeah, I mean maybe. Gosh.
But yeah, so I did a little bit of everything
Mhm.
until high school. Then I stuck just with cheerleading. Along with gymnastics, I tumbled at Bart Connors in Norman for 4 years as well. I didn't compete in any kind of gymnastic events there, but I did train there and then basically just used that for my cheerleading skills. So I was a 4-time All-American, had a scholarship to Purdue that I turned down,
Yeah.
and decided to go to school there in Oklahoma and get my physical therapy degree instead and play disc golf. So
Let's go to the 1999. That was the first year you played.
I played way more events than it says. I know I'm kind
Okay.
of bummed on that because
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't really realize, I never looked back to see that they've added one now. They now added the Norman Pro-Am, but there
Mhm.
forever it only listed the Am Worlds that I went to. I've been
Mhm.
playing for about 6 months, and Am Worlds was in Kansas City, so I went. But I definitely played a lot of, I mean, at least a handful of events before that there in Norman and Oklahoma City, probably Tulsa as well. And so definitely there's a lot of tournaments that are missing there in 99. I don't know exactly how to track all those down,
Mhm.
but I was kind of bummed when I look back after, I think it was when I hit my 150th win when I won US Women's, my second major. And I was like, well, that's cool. My 150th win on a major. Like, how awesome is that? And I look back and I was like, oh, well, it's probably not my 150th because I have like a whole bunch of events that aren't on there. Same with my 100th win. I remember was in Piney Woods down in Texas, and that was a really cool trophy and awesome event. Really hard course, wooded course that I wouldn't expect to play that good on. So yeah, you remember those, special ones.
Mhm.
I'm excited to try to reach 200. I don't know if I could do that in a couple of years, but I would sure like to hit 200 within a couple of years. And maybe I can get there faster if I do some research and find all my missing events from 99.
Would
So
it say like 170 something right now,
yeah.
according to you discs?
Yeah, and I played a non-sanction. It's kind of a bummer that the non-sanctions aren't listed because I
Mhm.
do play several of those. I played an incredible one here this weekend. Shout out to the Bare Bones in Arizona. Um, just a small group that play one of my favorite courses, actually, the Emerald Park, where I always practice.
Mhm.
That's typically where the event is held. It's the one that's right behind AB's house. And it's my favorite place to go practice because there's usually no one there. So that helps. And then it's the closest to my house and it's all grass. And so I love playing there. And I've always missed their event every single year. And so this year I was in town. So it fills instantly. It's one of those non-sanctioned, but fills in seconds. And so super fast, got on, signed up, and then they moved it to another course. And I was like, what the heck? So I was bummed it wasn't at Emerald, but we actually got to go back and play Freedom, which is now used to be Fiesta Lakes. But it was a ball golf course that we played for 1 year during the Memorial. We played a PLO there and a few other events. And then the golf course was bought out by some guys who have actually, I hate to tell you, call you out, they'll never see this, but they ran it down to actually horrible. They're guaranteed no one plays ball golf there anymore. So hopefully the disc golfers can get that course back in the future because it's a pretty fun park as well. So played that this weekend. It was just like an A-tier. I mean, it was a great event. So it was fun.
Well, maybe next year you can come and play the Battle of Bedford.
Maybe. So it's hard to get over there on the East Coast, though,
Yeah.
Northeast as well. So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
still never played in Florida. I mean, we shot the Zuka commercial there, so I threw a couple shots, but I've never even played in Florida yet, just because I was always still working in healthcare, and so to fly to the East Coast and then I couldn't really ever catch a late flight to be back to work on Monday morning. So the East Coast is always kind of my last place to visit.
What about the chess.com? You didn't play
Nope.
that this year? No. Wow.
Nope. Stayed home, played some local events. I think that was the same weekend. I went out and played Wintertime Open in California at Oak Grove. So it was the very first time that I was able to make it out there and play that iconic first course ever. Oh, lost him again. Not sure if we're still recording or not, but for those of you who have never played Oak Grove, put that on your bucket list because it's the first course ever and it's about to have its 50th anniversary. I'm not sure if it's still recording. I'm like, should I keep talking? Should we pause?
You can keep talking. Yes, you can keep talking.
I'll keep the show going. Okay.
Yes. You will be the host. This is the first time I've ever had this just shutting off. I don't know.
Is it getting too hot?
I mean, it shouldn't be.
But yeah, so I got out and played Wintertime, which is at Oak Grove, and I was just saying they're going to have their 50th anniversary this year. So it's incredible. Well, I say this year. I'm already into next season. Yeah. And so it's actually going to be the end of 2025. And I hope that I can make that very special event, whether I play or not. I'd like just to go be there. And it was another probably bucket list event for me to check off my list, like we were talking about courses or tournaments, to just go play. Wintertime was always one that I wanted to go play, but it was right before what the order used to be Las Vegas. Well, it used to be Wintertime Open, Las Vegas Challenge, and then the Memorial. So for several years, I took off 2 weeks of work and played the Las Vegas Challenge and then the Memorial, but I never could take off 3 weeks. And so, yeah, we don't have that much PTO when you're working. So it was just one I never got to play, and it was extremely special. I was able to play with practice rounds and watch play, and he watched me play as well with PDJ number 3, Mr. Dan Stork. And I'm really excited. I get to go play with him here next week as well. So
that's pretty awesome.
He's incredible. He's so amazing. And again, back to like just the people that we get to meet and the reasons that we love to play. Being able the last couple of years to meet, I mean, if you want to call them OGs, if you want to call them our heroes, if you want to call them, you know, whatever you want to call them, the people who have laid the foundation and started, you know, all of this for us to fall in love with and to be, you know, careers. So I've really enjoyed meeting so many of those people the last several years. Cheryl Newland actually lives in Arizona in the winters. I've been at PDJ number 76. I met her through Tita, PDJ number 83. But Cheryl was the first woman who created a women's division for us. She started Flow, Flying League of Women. I'm going to probably botch this. 76 to 79, I think, maybe something around there. Maybe that's too early. But it was back, she was the one who wrote the letter to WAMO to get a women's division in the $50,000 WAMO tournament that was held back in the day. And so Cheryl did a lot for this sport for women and for us to be able to have our own division and to play and to communicate. You know, they were writing letters and posting things back in the day by not by social media or phone calls, to find other women to play with. And so it's crazy to think, you know, how far we've came in this sport and the numbers the last few years, and not only the number of women that are playing, but the incredible depth of talent now that we have is just, it's unreal, and it's only going to continue to get better. So that's something I've kind of been able to enjoy, just sitting back and watching, all these kids, and same thing with Junior Worlds, watching several of those incredible, talented, 16 to 18-year-old girls, young women play, and then seeing them like Rebecca Dawn and a few others
Yep.
that have been able to immediately step up, and they made a stance in FPO as well already. So that's going to continue, and I'm super excited to be able to watch that and kind of be a part of that no matter what.
Okay, two people I met at Worlds this year. We're going complete opposite sides of this. I met MJ Gager, and I got to play the course, and she was on the card behind me, and I'd looked it up
and
to
she
see
killed it.
I was like, I looked to see who was playing around me, and I told one of my friends, I was like, dude, this little girl right here will destroy.
So good. Yeah, she's so good. I think she went over to Ivy, and I think I can't remember for sure. I want to say that she shot a 1 over practicing over something like that. It was like it was incredible. So, or maybe that was at when she practiced for throw pink, but and it's a lot harder when you're in the event versus practice. I mean, we all do so much better in practice, but doesn't matter. She has the skills to get those scores. So yeah, there's so many of them that are going to be big names here pretty soon.
Now, then the other side of this coin is I met Mary Ma Willis. And she's like 70 some years old, and she was telling me she's been on the tour helping women for years.
Never played. Yeah. Yep.
And I was just hearing her talk about it. I'm a history guy, whether it be because I'm a comic book guy too, whether it be in the comic books, whether it be American history, or it being, the history of the disc golf, and hearing her talk, I'm just like fascinated by it.
Yeah, she's a very, very special woman that that our sport has been blessed to have. She helped run U.S. Women's for, I hate to say wrong numbers, so I hate to even throw out a number, but for many, many, many years, she was responsible in helping get U.S. Women's every year. So incredible woman who's done so much for our sport as a volunteer. So that's something too, maybe for some reason you can't play this sport, there's still room for you in this sport. So that's pretty special.
Yeah, this is my little area. when my laptop's working.
There you go. There you go.
Let's see. Okay. In '99, you talking about Am Worlds. One of the things I was like, who else played in that? And the names I saw was Terry Miller.
Yeah.
Not in the women's division.
I know. I was like, there was a young girl from Canada who was 16 that won it. I had never played more than a couple of days in a row. So that was back in the day where you played 2 rounds, 1 round, 2 rounds, 1 round, 2 rounds, and a final 9. And so by like the 4th day, I was like, I don't want to play anymore. Can I go home? Like, I quit. And I was winning for like the first 3 days. And I was like, I'm done. Like, this is so much golf. So it was really hard because I was, I don't think I might have just turned 19. I was 18 or 19 when it happened. But a little girl who was 16 was who won from Canada. And I've never seen her play again. I don't know if she's still out there. I'd have to even look up her name to see who it was, but I don't remember. But I remember her. But there was quite a few of us, and I have one of probably my favorite pictures. A couple of my favorite pictures ever was taken from there. That we took a picture, all of us competing in the women's division with Steady Ed by one of the baskets at Waterworks. Most of us were in our sports bras because that was okay. And so and so it was normal to play in sports bras and jean shorts back in the day. That was perfect attire. But Dave Fehlberg played in that event. There was a lot of big people that played in that event as well. So Dave Fehlberg was Nico. There was like 2 other ones that are really big names that same year.
Was Fehlberg playing in AMs at that time?
I think so. If you have it pulled up, you can look. But yeah, there was a couple of us really who went far. I haven't looked at it in so many years. My dog is snoring.
Let's see. Oh, I'm looking at my own rating right now. That's not very good.
Yeah. I could actually pull. I have my link pulled up.
Let's see. Let's see who wins. And okay, here we go. Let me put my glasses back on. Okay, he's not
I
gonna be
might
in
get to it with if my internet works faster. Laura Smith, that was her name.
the. Mm-hmm.
My dog is snoring. There's Dave.
Oh, it's funny. I just thought he was a pro by that time.
We were kids.
Yeah.
I know there was a couple other bigger
And there's
names.
Perry Miller. He finished 20.
Eric McCabe
Oh,
played in
yeah.
that one. Jim Conrad. And I'm trying to quick glance. I might have already skipped by.
Phil the Basket.
Jeff
Perkins.
Jacquois played that one as well. He was Am.
Wow. That's so cool to look back at stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I want to start scanning a little faster because we're down to 150th. It's crazy how many players also played back then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was 172, well, more than that, I guess, with others. But yeah. And we had 20 women.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
yeah, pretty cool.
There I go.
To lose yourself again? Okay, so we'll just start talking about other topics. Will he come back? Oh, maybe. Hey.
Yeah.
I can always hear the audio first. There we go. We'll just maybe not go as long a show as you typically go.
It's like the worst nightmare ever.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, jumping straight into the 2023 Beaver State Fling.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, if it cuts off, I will be right back. You can keep talking. I promise
Okay.
it'll be okay. What were you thinking when the second round ended, and then your thoughts overnight, and then the next morning before the round started, before round 3 started, because it was a 3-round event.
Correct. That is a tournament that I love to go play because I stay with some great friends of mine. So it's always nice to go back to a house with friends and kind of relax. And so that's a tournament that I get to do that at and greatly appreciate that. So I went back and my friends have a basket and I practice putting, which I did every night, kind of went through my putting routine. I'm sure we had a great dinner, went and grabbed food together, and you get a good night's sleep because you're comfortable where you're at. I remember going to the course that morning, just very excited to play, which is kind of unusual for me not to be nervous. But for some reason that day, I just had a ton of excitement and I was super stoked to play. And I went up to Cap Merch right before we started when we were warming up. And I was like, we are going to have a blast today. And of course, she's great energy. And so we got pretty pumped and then went out there. And it's not like I mean, of course, when I lay in bed at night before an event, I go through every hole. And so I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't think that I could ace that hole because I almost aced it the day before. So like I go through and I know the shot where I'm going to land and what I'm going to throw as long as I release it correctly. And so it's like, okay, yeah, right there, boom, done. Next hole, and so I did like, you don't know that you're going to ace it, but like, I knew that I could. And I knew that I just kind of held onto that branch a little bit too much the day before, and it dropped right in front of the basket. The first day I threw my max, and I went like 45 long. So then day 2, I made that change to my T-bird, and I don't even think I practiced that disc. I had thrown the max in practice, I think. And so T-bird worked perfect. Shocker. I love my T-bird. It flies perfect. And so, yeah, stepped up to just try to throw that exact same shot, put the disc on the angle that I want it to, and then let the disc do all the work, and went straight in the bucket. So that was pretty exciting.
That was a little bit exciting, yeah. I mean, because Nate Perkins, right before, he was like, "This is the first event that you were leading, going into the final round." And I was thinking when because I just watched it again,
Oh yeah.
and I
I
was just like, I was like, my gosh, I'd be like, couldn't
yeah.
sleep. I wouldn't have fingernails.
No,
and
like I said, I was excited. I wasn't actually nervous. So
and then you guys fist bump, and you and Kat big hug.
yeah, she's my girl.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
she's
I
my
do have a
girl.
funny story about her too, but
I'm sure we all do.
I don't know what happened, but it made me laugh. I thought it was funny. But I'll let you tell you that in a few minutes if my computer lets me.
Okay.
Because and then the man says, Jennifer Allen, you step up, throw after. Oh, there I go.
Don't worry, folks. He'll be right back. Definitely like watching old footage. That round, the final round of Beaver State with Holland and I was an incredible round to go back and watch if you're bored and a cold winter day.
Yeah,
There we go.
it will be better than watching what I'm doing right now. So no, it's funny. I looked over and you were giggling at me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. So anyway,
Except up
um,
through, that's where you left off.
yeah, you threw your shot. To me, watching, you look like you had a shock, confusion, and excitement.
Afterwards, as soon as I let it go, I knew I released it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I throw a lot of hole in ones.
Well,
Drew and my daughter make fun of me
zero.
every day when I'm like, "Oh, guess what I did today?" They're like, "We don't care." No, like because I do get a lot of hole in ones, and I know when I let a disc go correctly. It's just like putting, right? When you putt and you
Mm-hmm.
know it's in or it's not, unless the basket does something a little weird or
Yeah.
whatever. You know when it comes out right. And as soon as I let that go, like I froze in the air with my arm up because I knew I threw it perfectly. So I'm watching it, and that's how I usually end up acing with my arms up because I'm watching it go in, because I know I threw a good shot, and so I wasn't frozen in shock. I didn't even realize that I had my arm up in the, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I could care less. I was just watching my disc because I knew it had a chance. And so then afterwards it was like, holy shit, it actually did. Oh, I didn't have to.
The
Dang it.
one rule we had.
Dang it. But it was just like you didn't like, even though you knew it could go in, it was like, oh my God, it actually did go in during the round, first shot of the event. So yeah, it was pretty incredible. So a little bit of shock, even though I knew I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It still is amazing to see it happen. I had the exact same reaction I aced at Worlds, and this year at Ivy across the water hole 7. I wish Innova had a camera set up there because it was the Ace Bounty hole, and they had a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful pavilion there for people to, or a little canopy for people to watch, and it
Yep.
was an incredible shot over the water. I think like 340, about the exact same distance. And shocker, I threw my T-bird. I threw the 2021 Beaver State Ace was my 22. 21 is a little more stable, and I just throw it on the line. I'm not trying to throw it at the basket. I'm actually throwing it probably 80 plus feet to the right of the basket on an angle, because I know when that hits its distance there, it's just going to drop. And it did that exactly like I drew it up in my mind, and went right in the basket. And I just stood there on the end of the tee pad and watched it. Same thing, like, wow, it did it again. So that one was pretty cool as well. So
Now, the one thing about watching that video back, because I watched it back
you
then.
probably watched it more than me. I've only watched it once, and I
Yeah.
watched that with the Disc Golf Pro Tour when we like recapped. When they did a series of like recapping events. That's the only time I've watched it. So
Well, I've watched it twice this week. So, but
maybe this off season.
But when you threw it, I could have sworn, Mandela effect, that I was like, she made it, she turned around, and you ran it down. Like, oh no, she didn't.
Mm-mm. No, I didn't run it down. No way. Are you kidding me? No, I'll get it when I get there.
because
left that in the bucket.
Perkins was like, Holland Hanley's about to throw. Well, what if she hits the disc in the basket?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Tough on Holland.
Yeah, not happening. So, yeah.
But I mean, gosh, I would say that there's two aces that kind of teared me up a little. Not gonna lie, that was one, and the other one was at Worlds last year with Allie Smith threw it in.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2023.
Yeah.
Or was it 2022? Yeah.
Yeah, it was at Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool ace blind shot, you know, that she had to run to kind of see if it went in. So that one was pretty cool to watch. Not gonna lie, I probably teared up a little bit too.
And when she was running, arms pumping.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've had too many aces. I don't chase them down like that.
Yeah. I've had zero, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, shoot, acing at Worlds on hole 7. That took me a hot minute to get around to that one, because you have to go all the way around
that lake right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one took a long time. I definitely did not get that out of the basket for anyone. I actually think I teed off last, so it can stay in the basket.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I aced again 2 weeks ago at my last tournament, and for the first time ever, I did not pay into the ace spot. So that was, which is, I know seems silly because I ace all the time. I've aced twice with this Mako in the last month. It's just a beautiful Mako. I love the way it flies. But there was only like 2 holes that you could even ace at this event. We play Sunset in a different format. And the hole that I aced, I hated. I literally I was explaining to Chelsea, who had never played the course, that I was like, oh, this hole, because I was kind of telling her where all the holes were. I was like, this hole is horrible. There's only a forehand. You can't even get to it. And so I had been throwing a putter, and it was only 250 feet, but you have to throw between like multiple palm trees that were kind of spaced weird. And there was a tree. You could kind of get a hyzer, but there was this big tree that guarded the basket. So I'd been throwing a putter, and it goes long. And so I was like, I'm just going to do a little standstill with this Mako. And it flipped up and rode over the tree. So we kind of we're like, oh, did it stick in the tree? And then all of a sudden just ching right in the basket. And we're like, again, I stand just in shock on the tee pad. Actually, Chelsea ended up recording that part of it by that point. I'm just standing there like, what the heck just happened? I think that was silly. But yeah, I was pretty bummed. I was the only ace, I believe, the entire event out of like 200 people. So it would have been a nice little bonus money. But I think we just get used to not paying into ace spots with on tour. So like I didn't win an ace spot when I aced at Beaver State. Like we don't have ace spots. So World Championships you do. There's a small ace spot for World, and I did ace the Innova bounty hole, so I did get a little Innova bonus, so that was awesome. Innova taking care of me. But yeah, aces are fun. I definitely enjoy going for them, and I've had a couple of conversations with Swebby, who's played forever, has a gazillion million hundreds of wins. I forget how many aces he has. It's like 8. I mean, there's like, I'm like, you have 400 wins and 8 aces. It's something like that. But he's like, I don't throw for aces. I throw for birdies. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, if you're going by the basket, isn't that pretty much going to be a birdie? Like, I don't know. That process doesn't even like make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Gibson told me the same thing. He's like, I don't throw for aces. I'm like, how do you not? Like,
Yeah.
you're aiming at the target of throwing it to the basket.
Mhm.
I mean, I do it perfect if it goes in. So,
Well, I don't because I can't putt.
well, there you go. See, if you ace, you don't have to putt.
Yeah, and if I miss, I get to putt twice, so
There
I get
you
to
go.
practice on it. By the way, Chelsea Howell's my first guest on my podcast.
Ah, I love her. She's great.
Yes, and we talked about you back then,
Ah,
not
yeah.
about you.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah. No, she's wonderful. I always have
But
a great time playing with her.
and if people don't know, little plug for her
Sure.
basket case podcast, really good,
Yeah, she's awesome.
really good. So let's talk about your you've played with a ton of great players.
Yes.
Um, if you have
A
any,
lot of my idols.
that's actually, you know what, should have been a question I asked earlier. Who were some of your idols growing up?
I
Well,
mean,
coming into the sport.
right. When I first started, JK wasn't playing. Oh, my dog is being so needy and now mad at me. She's being, I don't know why she's being like that. Um, JK was not playing at the time when I started playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew of her or heard of her, but I did not get to really play with her. Um, but I did play with Des. And so watching her, like, I didn't think she ever made a mistake. And I literally took a picture of her the first time I ever saw her having to like stretch out from a bush. It was at Veterans Park. I remember it. I can't even remember people I met yesterday, but I remember certain little moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
She was stretching out of a bush and at Veterans Park for VPO. And I was like, oh my God, she finally threw into the crap. And so that was like the first time I'd ever seen her do that. I remember the first time I finally beat her just for the round. I'm pretty sure she won the tournament, but it was out in Amarillo. And it was so, huge for me to beat her. And it's funny, like looking back, I'd never really thought of that. Players think that way of me. I'm sure, I guess they do, because you definitely feel like you have a target on your back at a lot of the events. But it is really cool to be able to beat someone you've looked up to. And that is kind of, it sounds weird. And I've really never really thought about it like that. And I guess it's because I respect all the players that I play against. To think that we all always have a chance to win. So, but yeah, I remember the first time, but she was so good. Like she was incredible back then, and I had just started playing. And so it was huge to learn and play alongside her. And then I will also, my other Des story is, I swear she won this tournament we played down in Texas that I don't think she ever had the box. Like, like we were either birdieing or bogeying, and she was just parring and just playing so smart. And we were playing stupid and aggressive. And we added up the scorecard, and I'm like, I just remember being in shock. Like, how did she win? She never had the box. And because I don't keep score, and in my head, I don't keep score. I just write it on paper. So I couldn't tell you what I shoot at the end of any round. I could go back and add it up. I remember every shot, but I don't try to focus on the score or the shot. And so I had no clue that she was winning. but yeah,
So
she's pretty
was
amazing.
it Des that you said didn't have any bad shots?
Yeah, she was incredible. Yeah, she's still incredible, but
Oh yeah.
when I was playing with her in the night, early 2000s, late 90s, she was definitely the woman to beat that played the game. And then Paige, I played with Paige. I was beating Paige for so many years because Paige was, I don't know how many years younger than me. But I did play a lot with Paige growing up and going down to Texas and play. And then Leslie Todd is how I'm I've always called her Leslie Todd. She's gonna she'll hopefully never watch this. I'd have to look up what her. She's divorced now, and I'd have to look up what her maiden name that she switched to. Everyone's their first name that I learned them. So Courtney Peavy, which is actually Courtney McCoy, will always be Courtney Peavy to me. Even though I grew up playing with her husband, Kevin McCoy. But Courtney was also one that we got to battle quite a bit. These were very early 2000s, something like that. But there were quite a few big names that started playing around then. More and more just kind of popped up every year. But definitely was Des, hands down, the first icon that I played with.
I got to meet her this year at Throw Pink. And I went up to this booth, and I was looking at the disc, and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. I know you.
She's like, "I'm Des Ring." Is like, "I know you.
Yeah.
You don't know me, but I know you."
Yeah. She's great.
And then right beside her is Juliana.
Yeah. So at their booth. Yes. Yeah.
And Juliana, she was on my podcast. So
yeah.
But I mean, those two could not have been. To me, they can't be sweeter. They are just
no. They were so incredible for our game, for the sport. Jay and Des have done so much, getting disc golf into I don't know how many schools and disc in hands of so many kids, and they're so good at what they do. If you were at Throw Pink and got to see some of their clinics with the kids when Rock Hill brings out couple of elementary schools for Jay and Des to teach, and you can hear those kids screaming across the entire course because they teach passion, they teach love of the game and how to have fun with it. So they have done a lot, and JK as well. So it was awesome to have her come back. I can't take probably credit, but I should ask her if I can take credit. So I invited her out we have a Phoenix Ladies Open PLO here in Phoenix. It's usually the second weekend of November. It's coming up. And I cannot remember who we were talking about doing. I'm going to blank on. I'm blanking. Double Discord, DDC. I'm going to blank on it. We were talking about doing that and setting it up. And so I invited her out to do a clinic and teach it and to play. And so she came back and played. And that was, I think, her first event back. And she won, of course, and played amazing and saw that the love for the game was still there. So it was super awesome to see. I think she even got a hole-in-one, maybe. I think at the course that I played this weekend. So I need to double check all that. I'm seeing her. I'm playing with her this coming weekend as well. So I'll have to double check all those stats. But she's incredible, and again, paved the way, for what we can do as women in this game. And her throws and skills is still unbelievable. She dominated in Vegas 2 weeks ago. She won last weekend in California in Open, beating a very great field of women. So she is still, no matter her age, can beat any age. So she's incredible.
She is so amazing. Let's see if you got any stories about any of these players, like Valerie Jenkins.
My favorite story of Val was I learned the slow to fast progression of a release, watching her throw in Emporia, hole 16, the island, the famous hole. We didn't throw from the dock. We threw from the side. But I watched this very slow to boom power release. And that was when it really clicked with me. And then 2 holes later, she won her last world title that she won. So
wow,
it was pretty cool to be there.
And it was cool. I got to meet her this week because Nate played, and that's someone I never thought I'd get to see play. By the way, Nate and Barry Schultz,
and he's still so good. Oh, Barry's incredible as well. And that's what I'm saying. That's what's so great about USDGC, right? Like it doesn't matter if you've played it every single year. It is such an honor to go back, and that these incredible icons of the men that will still come back and play that event. So it's one, if there's one tournament, I mean, I guess World is pretty cool to watch as well. That this, the newest talent, and especially with what they do with the disc these days. But USDGC, hands down, is probably, I would say, the best bang for your buck to go if you're going to travel just to watch a tournament, because you also can play the courses next to it. They set up a course. There's entertainment, there's food, it's a festival, right?
Yeah.
You're not just going to watch disc golf. There's a whole day's activity for you to do as a spectator.
Yep.
So if there is one event that you're like, okay, it's going to be the family vacation, and bring the family, bring the kids, because there's bouncy houses, there's the little things that they ride, whatever those are, that I would die if I got on one of those. But they, obstacle course for the kids to ride those. I mean, there's so much for the entire family to do. So that's an event to go see for sure.
So y'all have only got to play that for the last 3 years?
I think so.
That's so sad to me.
Well, speaking of JK and Des, they both have played it, as well as Paige and Katrina.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
I know JK, when I talked to her, she was like, I wanted to skip the women's event that week so I could go play this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think
100%.
she said she missed the first year it was there because
she qualified. She was the first woman to ever qualify for the event. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was walking there, and I was at Worlds, and to me, Worlds is awesome.
Yeah.
But walking around that course, I mean, it was like I could see ghosts down there.
Yeah. There's a few courses that I've played that I kind of feel, you just feel maybe the disc golf of the past, or the ones, the special souls that we've lost over the years. You feel something when you're on those courses. And I would say that Oak Grove is one of those courses. You just feel, it feels so special to be there. De La up in Santa Cruz is that way to me, as well as Morley down in San Diego is another one that is it's just a super cool, course. It's not like Morley's so tiny. It's almost so tiny it's dangerous to play, but there's just something very special about it. So there's quite a few of those.
So I was thinking as I was walking, this is the first time I'd been down there, and I parked right there beside where hole 14 is. And I'm walking, and I had to look like the dumbest guy there because I had this stupid grin on my face.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing at the holes. I'm like, "There's 14. Look, there's the hay bales." And I'm looking at the holes like they're celebrities.
Yeah.
Because I'm
going to have to let my dog out. I think that's why she was being so sweet to me. She just wanted my attention. Come here.
So. Then watch, my computer will not shut off while she's gone. When she gets back, it'll probably shut back down. Let's see. If anybody's on got any questions, please let us know. Questions are always good.
Okay.
So when was you got me?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first year you went down there to Winthrop?
I mean, I went to watch for several years before playing.
So what was it like playing there for the first time?
Awesome.
Like in tournaments, was it?
Yeah. Because you definitely, like you said, like, the course, the holes. I watched the guys play it for several years. And so, not that we can throw the same shots as the guys I was watching, but you do feel like you're a part of the course because you've been there a few times before you got to play it. I did personally. So.
Well, I got to, one of my friends was playing, and so I got to go down the Wednesday and walk a practice round with her. Yeah. And I didn't realize between holes 7 and 8, there's that road I can walk up. So I ended up walking all the way around hole 5. So I missed the first hole, but that's okay.
Oh no.
So I didn't get to look down that
Yeah.
tunnel. So I thought that was pretty cool. But
Speaking of aces, that was another one of ace.
what is have they had? I know hole 3 has changed since the women have been playing there.
Changed this last year.
Uh, well, yeah, it was changed before that because it was a par 3. Then they made it to that par 4, and that's when they added that skinny par 4. Hole
Well,
4.
it was a par 5 for
Oh, par 5 for the ladies.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. I'm not gonna lie, when I got there this year and I was walking, I was like, what's wrong with this hole? Something is wrong here.
I enjoyed the change. I thought it was
Mhm.
a really good change because we don't have to throw over the it was really cool to throw from the trees up
Mhm.
there. That was a cool tee box.
Mhm.
But we had to throw across the street. So we were always
Mhm.
waiting on the golf carts to come by or people walking. And so it was a little bit of a distraction
Mhm.
throwing that. But what the other thing that I think was really great about that change was coming off of 18. We were able to come right off of 18, have the our scores tent right there.
Mhm.
Because previous to that, we would have to putt on 18, walk down the fairway a little bit, and then over. And so we
Mhm.
were always walking when other people were trying to throw.
Yeah.
So those changes were excellent that they did,
Mhm.
I think.
I mean, my first
And
thought
it's a
was,
tough shot.
yeah, my first thought was maybe they changed it just because 18 is right there, and then you have hole 3 was right there beside
Yeah, yeah.
18, and I
It's
was like, yeah,
definitely
that's
part of the reason for sure.
yeah, and especially toward the end of FPO, then you still have MPO still throwing there, and
Right.
you got that
Right.
crowd there. So yeah, I mean, it made me
It's a
sad
smart change. Yeah.
just
It
because
is
all
a good
those
change.
years seeing that little downhill par 3, I was like,
But that tee box is a beautiful tee box that they built for us up there.
oh,
And
that did look really nice.
yeah, and the tree right in front of it is
Mhm.
definitely it's a tough shot. So
Did you, before you played there, maybe before you saw, I mean, did you watch it rounds before you actually went there and saw the guys play? No, okay,
no.
because I did, obviously, but the
No.
hole two totally blew my mind
Looks
because
different.
yeah, because I always saw the guys, they go there and they threw a lot of them would throw a roller
Hmm.
and to it like a placement. And I always thought it turned to the right after that beside that parking lot. You get there, it's basically straight uphill.
Yeah. So a couple of changes. I think previously the OB line was the fence. And
Mm-hmm.
so to make that a little harder, there's a pretty big, like maybe at least 3 feet, maybe a meter or something like that away from the fence is the rope now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that took away some of the rollers
Mm-hmm.
that people would throw because you'd roll and you hit the fence and it's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not that that's cheating,
Mm-hmm.
but they were using the fence to stop those shots. And
Yeah.
so I believe that it used to be the fence. And so that
Mm-hmm.
was another little tweak just to make us earn that shot and throw the correct shot. So
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Any other changes they really made on the course? I mean, I know they
there
added they put in that whole 4 when they put 3 and 4 together.
off of 13, changed a couple 13 changed
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how many years ago because that used to be the 888 where they teed off on the other side of the parking lot. So
Yeah.
there has been
Yeah.
several little changes
Oh,
over there to make things better.
yeah. Hole 5. I keep forgetting hole 5. The men used to tee off like in the almost
On the dock.
on a dock in the middle
Yeah.
of the lake.
Yeah.
Well,
I
not,
kind of wish that they would do that again. I thought that was super cool.
I did think that was pretty cool because
Mhm. Oop, lost him again.
when I was watching that, I was like, I
Oh,
completely forgot that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it's still
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Dock's still there.
oh. And so, should that be a major?
Yes, my vote,
Mm-hmm.
my thought that I threw out to them, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one who had that thought,
Mm-hmm.
but was that I feel like Throw Pink should be our U.S. women's. I
Mm-hmm.
think that event should be a U.S. women's and a U.S. DGC. It makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is the whole invitation factor. So we want U.S. women's to be for everyone in all ages, all divisions and stuff like that. But I thought it'd be pretty cool that Throw Pink is a charity event. That Throw Pink could be that event for everyone. The only thing is that that's a major for all those other divisions as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of, the reason that it's not a major for us is because we have one more than the men. So they're trying to keep it fair.
Yeah, because when I went to Burlington last year, and that was the first big tournament I went to.
It was a great event.
Oh my gosh.
2 years ago.
Just seeing all the women there, and I was just like, this. I tell people this. I want to see more people playing that don't look like me, and I mean white male. I want to see different colors. I want to see more women out there playing. We have so many tournaments around here. Like we just had, like I said, Battle of Bedford. Only Brooke Johnson. She's the only one that was in it. And I know me and Brooke, we're good friends. And I was just like, man, it makes me so sad.
Yeah, that was such a great event because all 3 courses were on the same track. And so as soon as you got done with your round, I was able to go and watch the juniors. I was able to go watch FP70. I was able, instead of just getting in my car and leaving because nobody else was playing after I got done.
Yeah.
At the course. Like this year down in Austin, we were spread out all over Texas. I mean, there were courses that were 45 minutes apart. So I was unable to ever go watch any of the other divisions play. So that, to me, kind of was the damper to that event. It just wasn't the same as Burlington was. I was ecstatic. I think all of us were when we left that event because it was just special because we were all there together. So it'd be super cool for whoever is awarded those tournaments in the future to be able to really look at property that has multiple courses on the same property. Because for that event especially, it makes or break, I think, the event. Like Worlds or one of those events, whether it's juniors or AMs or whatever, sure, we can drive around and be all over town, whatever. But for U.S. women's, it's just, I mean, a lot of the women really are there to meet and watch other women play. That's the whole point. We want to be there together. So preferably close courses.
and by the way, when you were about to finish and win that event, I guess it was the TD, I guess, came over to the tee box, and he was like, okay, everybody, the FP40 is about to finish over here. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, Jennifer Allen's about to win. So like, hey, let's go see Jennifer. So, I mean, a bunch of people come over to watch that. And to me, that added so much. I thought it was so cool that, that they would do that and say, hey, come
I
over
didn't
and
even know they did that. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
we
I had a picture of you with that trophy, which I thought that was a really cool
It was
trophy.
beautiful. And not only that, you probably don't have a picture of the wooden box that they made as well. So I also got a hand carved wooden, like kind of like a little jewelry box as well. So it was beautiful. My dad was a woodworking teacher for 30 years. And so any type of little wooden box or anything like that is really special to me. So it's definitely one of my favorite trophies that I've won.
That is awesome. Man, I tried to play that course.
It's tough. That's a tough course.
Well, my thing is I had really bad shoulder tendonitis. So I played like 6 holes. I'm like, I just can't go anymore.
Yeah,
plus walking it for four rounds before that.
Yeah, it's a tough course. It's very challenging. The courses we played for U.S. Masters this year were just as difficult. I feel like the Buckhorn was extremely tight. It's probably the tightest wooded course I've ever played. It's pretty new course, I believe. And so that's why it's still pretty tight, and they just laid some new tee pads and stuff like that. And then Diavolo was the other course. And if you're in the Raleigh area, Diavolo was a beautiful course to play. So
it's funny. I was just there yesterday, and I was going to play that course. One of my friends was set up at a comic book show. So I was like, I want to play something quick. So
It's
I
not a
went to,
quick course.
no,
It's
no,
not a quick
no.
course.
I went to Kentwood. It's a tiny little course. On a Sunday morning, I'm thinking it's not gonna be anybody there. It was packed.
There's a lot of people that play there.
I was like, darn it.
Yeah, Raleigh
Played
has a
on.
great group of
Mhm.
golfers.
It's like, well, oh well. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to the players. Let's see. We mentioned Valerie, Sarah Hokum.
Yep, been able to
After you won one, you gave yeah, y'all had a big hug.
after for
Beaver
Beaver
State,
State.
Beaver State, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Sarah, I mean, she's one of those who we've been playing together. I'd have to look back and see when we first started playing together, but we have played together for over a decade,
Hmm.
at least over a decade. We've traveled together, we've stayed together, we've played many, many, many rounds, whether it be practice or against each other in tournaments.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, we're definitely have been friends for quite a while.
She's someone I would love to talk to on the podcast because for the longest time, and I still feel this way about her, she's the queen of the forehand.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I don't
it's
know how
what
she
she's
throws it.
known for. Yeah, it definitely it's kind of like my reach back, right? So people
Hmm.
can sit there and critique my reach back as much as they want, but it works for me. It's the
Yeah,
same with Hokum's forehand. It may not be like the guys, but guess what? We're not guys, and we
right.
can't throw it like the guys because we don't have those muscles the same. And so she's digging in deep, right? So it's kind of like throwing the ball to second base. She's getting in there and engaging her core so much because we have to use women are stronger in their hips and
Hmm.
their core. Our arms are not the same muscle strength. We don't have the same grip strength. We don't have that equal strength that the men can do a really quick and just an explosive power. We can't do
Yep.
that. And so she is engaging all those muscles that she can activate at the right time to get those incredible shots. And speaking of Buckhorn, she laced that course with her forehands. I mean, she took I believe, tap in three on one of the hardest holes. Maybe she ended up getting a tap in four, but she was there in three.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's a shot that we played the exact same courses and holes as the men. And these men, MP 40, I guarantee you there was just maybe a couple of men that birdied that hole like she did. So
Wa-
she is incredible with that shot.
Was that the tournament that y'all went extra
A
holes on?
gazillion million extra holes. Yes. Yes.
Because I was
It was
following it
ridiculous. It was
on the app,
ridiculous.
and I was just like, wow, they're still going.
We ordered pizza. Like it was it was so stupid. And looking back now, I mentally definitely gave up. It was just like it was over it. I was over interrupting the other cards because
Hmm.
MP40 is trying to finish and get done.
Hmm.
Looking back, I hope if they ever have another big event there, and in case of a playoff, what are you doing? Um, she's so antsy. Um, they should alternate 1 and 9
Hmm.
because then we would have never gotten anyone's way to finish. I mean, we
Right.
played through like 5 extra times. So every time we'd play 18 and 18's no short hole, it's like 800 feet, right? Or something
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a par 5.
yeah.
We added I forget they added it up, like how many more thousands feet we played on our playoff by adding that in. But yeah, so we'd play 18, we'd turn around and walk hole 1 all the way back down to the tee pad. We'd stop play, get in front, cut in front of the next group, go
Oh,
all the way back. And we did that for another hour and a half or more. And granted, we probably had like a 10 or 11 o'clock tea time, something like that, probably
hmm,
10ish. And so by this time, it's like 4 o'clock.
yeah.
Like we have not ate lunch. It's time for dinner. We did after the third time, I think Rebecca Duffy stopped us and gave us a bathroom break. Like it was ridiculous. And so definitely that's something I've never trained to really like maintain focus
Hmm.
to like, okay, don't, keep trying because you'll be angry later maybe if you kind of give up just from being tired of playing. But it's kind of like Am Worlds. I was just kind of just sick of playing. Um, it was definitely a unusual situation.
It was really cool that for Sarah to get that win after
Absolutely.
coming back from that ankle injury.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, good for you, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Good for
Oh,
you.
she played incredible all
Mhm,
week.
mhm,
Um, yeah, it was, and she mentally stayed strong to finish that.
mhm,
So my last couple shots that I threw, were definitely retired. But I literally looked at my caddy. I'm like, I can try this line to either try to win it, or it's gonna lose me the tournament, you
mhm.
know. And I said that to him, and he was like, he's like, don't do it. But I'm like, at this point, I was either like, I wanted to end it either way, right? So
Mhm,
I was either gonna execute that shot and hit this tiny gap to make it to the bucket to try to get one stroke ahead of her, um, or I was going to fly by or hit a tree and miss, and that's what I did.
mhm,
And so I it was my decision. I 100% would probably make the same decision again. I just didn't execute the shot like I should have. I actually probably threw the wrong disc. Probably should have changed and thrown a different disc. But I had two really good chances to finish that. I actually still regret a short putt I missed on hole 9 during the tournament that we wouldn't even have to done the stupid playoff. But I did have two not short putts, but I had a couple of chances to finish it and I didn't make them. And my chances to win, they were all like 50-foot jump putts, to try to win that. And after playing that tournament, and we played through rain and I mean, it was exhausting. It was a long week.
mhm.
So it was definitely something I wasn't mentally ready to be that strong
Yeah,
to finish that through. So that was a lot.
yeah, that is brutal.
Yeah.
Let's go to Owen Scoggins.
That's another one I've got to play with for at least 15 years,
Mhm,
probably, I would say. So probably both of them at least 15 years or more. Um, I don't remember if our very first time we ever played was at De La, but that's kind of some of my first memories really that kind of pop into my head was playing with her at De La, and her making these psychotic death putts, on the Anaconda and stuff like that, just running putts that the men would lay up, and it was
mhm.
like, and just that was my first impression, is like she puts like a man, like she has no fear. She's so strong and so mighty. And yeah, that's, I mean, she's incredible. And to be, I mean, she's 1 year younger. I guess Hoka may be 2 years younger, or she may be one too. But my body, I've definitely felt so much older this year, and just different things, and hormonally, and everything else. And so we're at that point that our bodies as women are making changes, and Own just continues to get better and better,
Mhm.
and it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, I was again at Winthrop, and I was walking with Shelly May, and we were on 17, and Owen comes up and was practicing and just laced four right on that little
Yep.
island
Oh,
green.
it's a dialed in forehand for her.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
well, yeah, but then she goes to 18, and this is where she has gotten insane. Is her backhand is now
mhm,
just a weapon.
mhm.
She
Yep.
threw four off that tee pad, and you could have put a blanket over those four.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
like, oh
She's
my
dialed
gosh.
in. Yeah,
And
she's
she
dialed in.
just whips them. I was like, my gosh.
Yeah. I honestly, we're built differently,
Mhm,
clearly.
mhm,
And I've been very hard on my body,
mhm,
being in sports since I was little,
mhm,
and don't have the best genetics as well, with arthritis and stuff like that. So I know I'm at that point now. My body is like not allowing me to be that aggressive. Like I'm
mhm.
having to slowly train and learn how to not be so aggressive, because it's like knowing my pitch count now. I
Yep.
know I can't do that to my body if I want to continue to play at this level. But Owen's just built different. Like she's not big. She doesn't have any extra
Mhm.
muscles or anything. It's just
Tiny.
it's just comes out, and she is able just to sling. And I am curious how long her body will do that. I mean, it looks to me that her body's built to do it. So I'm not
Mhm,
saying that it's going to not work. I am curious to actually see how long her body will do that, because it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I know last year she had, was it elbow tendonitis or something with
Yes.
her arm last year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did like 4 hours of putting practice before Worlds. And I think they pushed her car out of a ditch or something. Like, it was, yeah.
Push your car out of a ditch. Oh,
Yeah, I wanna say maybe Haley King got hurt. Like, I feel like there was a couple of them that did something that kinda got hurt, and I feel like someone got stuck. I may just be
oh,
making that up.
hmm.
But I believe that's what happened. I don't know.
Now we're talking someone else that's small and a world champion, Paige Shue.
Aw, little Paige. Gosh, when was the first time I played with little Paige? I remember a lot of, playing DDO or Emporia with Paige.
Mhm,
And yeah, like you said, so tiny. And it was awesome. She was probably one of the first other mothers on tour.
mhm,
I'm trying to remember, like, that actually toured. I mean, clearly there's tons of incredible mothers that play,
mhm,
but there wasn't too many of us that had kids and toured. And so Paige was kind of one of those that stepped up and was able to do it. And it's hard. It's a totally different ball game. And Katrina and Macy now joining in that awesome circle, and it adds a little bit extra onto it, but it also adds in a little bit of different mental that sometimes I think is a bonus, right? Like, there's so much more to be thankful for than
mhm,
disc golf. So you have a different gratitude towards things. And I think being a mother just changes you mentally quite a bit. And so I think it can also be a pro than a con. So
mhm. Yeah, I met her at Worlds, and I was like, I knew she was small, but when you
she's
meet her in person, I'm
tiny.
like, my gosh, you were just.
She is so tiny. So
But,
tiny.
but I mean, she's very, very pleasant, very, very,
Oh,
very sweet
yeah.
lady, very sweet
Yeah.
lady. And two of the people that I really said at Worlds, I was really surprised by Sarah's forehand, how much
Mhm.
power she got behind
Mhm.
that. But the other for me was Haley King.
Yeah.
I know she throws a long ways, but watching
Again,
her throw, it looks like it just comes out at a different speed than
it's
everybody.
clean. It's because it's so clean.
Mm-hmm,
She is probably one of the few women that has that Gannon-Burr AB body style, right?
mm-hmm,
Where I was talking about everyone's
yeah.
body style is different, so everyone's throw is going to be different.
Mm-hmm,
Haley's lanky. Like, she's, and I want to say they measured her ape index and it's actually shorter, even though she looks like she has really long arms. I believe
mm-hmm,
she told me she does not. Um, but she's just so tiny and uses the lever arm versus muscles
mm-hmm,
um, to generate that. And so she's so clean on when she's coming through. You don't see the increased core and hips that some of the other women are using for our throws, like Sarah and I for our
mm-hmm,
styles of throw. So it's going to come out looking totally different. And she is incredible with those throws because of her timing and her form is just impeccable.
mm-hmm. I mean, just I was just when I saw her throw, I was just because there's a hole at Burlington. It's on the back nine where the spectators are out in the field, and the players were throwing out. It might have been
Up the hill.
16. I think it
Yeah,
was
up
16.
straight up the hill.
Yeah, and so I looked at my friends. I was like, "Watch, you will be able to tell which one is Haley's."
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah.
and the thing was, it didn't look like it went any further. It just looks like it comes out so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah,
It's
it
quite
does.
impressive.
Yeah, she is impressive.
Um, wow, I was going to mention someone else. Paige Pierce.
Paige Pierce, I kind of mentioned her already. So
Mhm,
I grew up playing with Paige. She was probably 15 maybe or so, 15.
mhm,
I know she was 16, playing a few tournaments. So yeah, I've been playing with her for an incredible long time.
mhm,
It was really hard to see her take such a horrible injury.
mhm,
But what a story to
mhm,
be able to come back from such a horrific injury. And I think next year she'll be back to more of what the Paige that everyone's used to to seeing, because that's just, you can say, oh, well, look, she's walking, she's doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really difficult injury to come back
Yeah.
from, and mentally and physically. And it's going to take time to fully, completely be back to a normal self, because she has to find a new self. She's not the same, leg or person that she
Mm-hmm.
was. And
Yeah.
so she's going to have to redevelop that. And I think we're going to see her playing really good again.
Yeah. I mentioned on one of her posts earlier this year. Well, not early, but I think toward the end of the season, I was like, 2025. I would put money that she wins another major.
Yeah, probably so. I would say
And
that.
I mean, it's it used to be easy to say that because it just
Oh yeah, she was a guaranteed
it seemed
bet.
like it was her and Katrina every week.
Yeah, yeah,
Which,
yeah.
by the way, Katrina's coming up next. But and I was just like, man, the field is so deep. It's hard to say anybody's going to win.
It is. You have to play. We used to be able to get by playing 3 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you could have one really crappy round and you could still pull off anything.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that anymore. You
Yeah.
have to have 4 perfect rounds, really, to come away the winner, because the talent is too deep.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you said earlier, like every year is just going to keep getting deeper.
Yeah.
Katrina Allen.
Yeah, another new mommy. Um, I
Eloise.
Yeah, I remember, being there watching her win her first and second world championships, and both was very incredible to see. It was a really great moment, because I don't know if there's anyone who trains and works harder.
Mm-hmm.
So to see all of that pay off, it was very special. And I think for Utah, more than up in Portland. I watched her there win at Blue Lakes in Portland. And I guess I didn't know her as well back then. So maybe that's why being there with her, and, the family and everyone right there watching her to make that putt to win was really special, because she worked really hard that year
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So it doesn't matter if it's you or someone else, when you know that someone puts in the work. And, we all put in a lot of work, but we don't
Yeah.
always get to see it, pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one moment that I was able to see hard work pay off, whether it was me or somebody else. It's an incredible thing to witness. So
The when she won her second, I said this to one of my friends. I was like, the worst thing that happened that day was not to Paul Macbeth when James Conrad made the shot. I was like, it's to Katrina Allen, because people will completely forget how she won that tournament.
yeah, that is kind of true. It wasn't, her hitting that last shot coming
Mm-hmm.
in. It, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it's like 250 feet once you make that 90-degree turn,
Mm-hmm.
because I threw a Mako on it. So maybe it was more like 280, 300. But it was a very difficult shot. It's about circle's edge, around the back side of that coming in. And so very, very little room for error. And she just barely kept it in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was pretty awesome to witness.
That was, I mean, gosh, I was watching that live when it happened. I was like, oh my
I was
gosh,
right
what
there.
just happened?
Yeah, I was
I hit
right
that
there
twice
off
in the day.
the 18th.
And the I'm not gonna say the newest, but one of the best is Kristen.
She is probably one of the most genuine. Well, I mean, I guess we get to throw Evelina in there as world
Oh, I
champions
do
now.
love Evelina.
Yeah, those
That
those
smile
those
is
silly
priceless.
fins, those are like my babies.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, they're like my little kids. But I was able to stay a couple of weeks, back-to-back weeks, with Kristen during a couple of tournaments for Des Moines and for Preserve. And she is as genuine and honest in front of people as she is in home, right?
Mhm.
Like, she is the same person that you see in public as you would in private. She is so genuine, so caring. She's just an amazing human. I mean, that's all there is to it. And so she is an incredible champion for us to have in this sport, to kind of look up to as a role model, because she is how we all should be: very humble, and just truly, truly talented. So
It's really incredible what you just said because you almost said exactly what Juliana Corver said about
Yep.
her.
Well, we
She,
speak the
she,
truth.
she is like she was like, we are very blessed to have her playing disc golf.
We are. We are
I
for
was like,
sure.
that's awesome. I mean, I met her after she just won the Grand Slam, and you know she's out there signing autographs for like
Yep.
it's like hundreds of people and
Hasn't
taking
ate,
pictures.
hasn't taken, yeah, like we wouldn't, I'd say most of us wouldn't just skip that unless, something really bad had happened or whatever.
Mhm.
But like, we're exhausted, like
Yeah.
mentally after that long of a round and the stress of winning, what it
Hmm.
takes, like mentally it's more exhausting than physically. And so it takes a few minutes after you get done, whether you play good or bad, to kind of decompress and get your mind back at it. It's just a totally different mindset. And so to sit down and be so caring and open and loving to everyone who loves her, it's exhausting. And
Hmm.
she does put herself last to do that because she hasn't had a break yet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
She's awesome. She's just
Yes.
awesome. Let's talk about the Finns
Yes,
because
my
I
girls.
mean I would say this about Evelina. Her and Missy Gannon made me
Mhm.
change my thought process on the disc golf course. I would hit a tree, lose my mind. I've kicked my bag on more than one occasion.
Oh, don't be a bad kicker.
Hey, watching them, I'm like, they're playing for money.
Hmm?
They hit first available. They turn around, got the biggest smile on their face.
You
They
have
lace a
to.
500-foot, well, 450, just lace one, turn around, the exact same smile on their
Mhm.
face.
You
I'm
have
like,
to
I'm like,
because of
what?
the mental game. Like
Yeah, I'm
it.
like, what am I doing?
Yep.
And since
Yep.
then, I have like a 3-second meltdown, and that's it.
Well, and it is hard. Sometimes I
Hmm.
do try to get mad at myself to change my mindset.
Hmm.
It's a very fine line. I think we all play our best when we're having fun. It is hard to be like, okay, let's go have fun. We're going to be playing
Hmm.
for a major, but let's just go have fun. It doesn't matter. That's really hard to do. And so it's finding that perfect balance of staying focused, staying determined, still having fun. And those that can balance that perfectly, they play well.
Hmm.
So yeah, it definitely, they both know. And I think like for Missy, for instance, and I've heard I don't think it was Disc Golf Pro Tour Finals this year. I actually think it was last year. Her interview was really, it hit me pretty personally. It's like when she knew that she made the mistake or whatever, she knew she still could do it. Like I
Hmm.
believed in myself that I could still do it. And that's what we have to be able to do. And she does that maybe better than anyone, of not giving up in herself and knowing if anyone can do it, she can.
Hmm.
Evelina, I don't think believes in herself that much yet. And I think we will all be in store for some remarkable, amazing golf as soon as Evelina believes in herself as much as Missy does. Because
I have said when
we have not seen all of Evelina's talent yet.
I have said it was about 3 years ago. I said when Henna and Evelina, when they get everything right, they are going to be far and away better than anyone else
Yep.
out there.
Yep. And it's hard. It's hard for them that you have to
Hmm.
add in the factors as well as Kristen.
Hmm.
Because Kristen's away from her daughter as well.
Hmm.
Not all the time, but they're away from home.
Yep.
Right? They're not around their friends and family. That's why they're so close to each other. And that's why I would say all of the Europeans travel together because they get to at least feel that little bit of home.
Hmm.
And that's difficult. That adds in a little bit of extra that they have to deal with that we don't. So they are still kind of learning. I think that they're getting it down. They learn they can speak English now. At first they had just a few words that they were speaking when they came over. Same with Silva.
Yep. That's what I was going to mention. Yep.
Silva's going to have a couple of incredible years in front of her once she kind of settles into everything. It's a lot to adjust
Hmm.
for them coming over here. So, but
Yeah.
very, very talented women over there.
Yeah. I'm looking at Silva. She had an interview at the end of a round, and I just wanted to go over and give her a hug because she just looked
She
like
wouldn't have taken it.
yeah she had that look of like I don't I don't really want to be
She
here.
knows about 2 words.
Yeah.
It's not that she doesn't wanna be there. She
Mhm.
doesn't wanna say the wrong word. She does
Mhm.
not she's just learning English.
Yeah.
Like, she's done better, but she could not speak English when she came over here to play. When I,
Mhm.
first met her was at Music City a couple years ago, and she was staying with Hannah and Evelina, so we got together and played rounds and stuff like that, and I mean, just in private, she couldn't even really say a few words. And
Mhm.
so, and even I think back home in her own country, she's probably not a very talkative person. That's
Yep.
not her personality.
Yep.
And so, I think it'll get better. But they don't do small talk.
Yeah.
That's just something that they don't do over there. And so that was one of the first things, that Hannah and Evelina are like, what is all this small talk? Like, we don't do that. And so that's something that she just doesn't probably even like, right? Like she's like,
Mhm.
this is stupid. Why do they say things when they shouldn't have to? So that's why I
That's
think she
awesome.
comes off a little bit, but
Mhm. Yeah.
she's such a talent. I mean, as soon as I played with her in Music City, she did not play great. She had a horrible last round, but she was playing without an umbrella in the pouring rain. It was the conditions that year were
Mhm.
absolutely horrible. But I saw her throw and execute so many incredible shots, all different shots, forehand, backhand, putting, everything, approach. I went straight to Innova. I'm like, I want this girl on my team. Like she's so talented. She has so much raw talent
Mhm.
that's going to continue to grow. And so she is definitely one, I think, in a couple of years that she'll win a couple of majors for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I really enjoy watching her play. And then coming up behind that is, oh my gosh, I can't remember her middle name is Ida Nisi. Ida,
I Ida.
and I know there's a middle name in there. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's the hyphenated name. She doesn't say
Yeah.
it, but
Okay.
yeah, she watching her play, she was one of the other little girls I got to watch
Yep.
and get to know at Junior Worlds. And she is
Mhm.
also, her and Rebecca both were just incredible to watch play. They definitely have a lot of amazing talent as well. So
Mhm.
at such a young age.
Why do you think the women seem to be able to come over and play better than the men from
Be-
Europe?
because there is the depth in the MPO is like ridiculous.
Hmm.
If you're not 1030, if you're not above 1030, you're in the B pool at Worlds.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that, put that into perspective. You're not even in the first pool of men if you're 1030 rated below.
Hmm.
So that just shows you the depth of the skill level. They have, the men have some incredible talent over there
Hmm.
as well, but they train really hard. They train in schools. They train so much. They appreciate and take disc golf as a professional sport more than we do in America.
Hmm.
And so I think that talent really is shows when they come over here.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Worlds next year in Finland.
Yeah, me too.
I expect it's going to be just a madhouse of awesomeness.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great.
um, who is a player that maybe through your years you've played with and against, and you're like, people just don't know how good that lady was.
Whew.
Well, the only reason I thought
I
about this
mean, we've
was
we've mentioned so many of them already.
the one I thought about because I used to love watching her play was Heather Young.
Oh yeah, Heather was great.
I mean,
Heather
just
was
watching her
incredible.
lefty out there playing, I was like, she
Yeah,
was so good.
yeah, she was very, very talented player. That and maybe she'll come back into it
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, she was a great lefty, incredible putter.
And I was talking to Nate, and I was talking about one of the guys, and I said Will Schusterick. He's like,
Yeah,
well, everybody knows him. I was like, most people now have no idea how good he
that's
was
true.
because
Yeah, that's true.
most people from 2000 to now they don't know.
You have pre and post COVID players.
Yes, yes.
So,
And I was like, man, Will was so good. And
mhm.
like, and I thought Heather was right there,
Yeah,
and just like
yeah,
loved watching her
she was
play.
very talented for sure.
How often do you change discs out of your bag, or do you like have them like different stages of beat in as you're going, or?
I have discs in my bag that are probably at least 8 years old or more. So I have some that have been around forever, and I don't know if I'll ever replace them. Um, My T-birds and my rocks go immediately in my bag. I know people probably think I just try to sell those things, but my rock 3 this year, and I love my rocks the 2 previous years. My rock was my ace on hole 1, at Throw Pink. It's the straightest flying disc, and I bragged about it then. And then I got the 23s, and I was like, oh my gosh, these things are so beautiful. And it replaced my 22s like that. And then this year, they're just something special. Like I love this year's rock as much as I love the 22 T-Bird. Those two, the 22 T-Bird and this year's rock, are just, they fly perfect for me. And so I've told anyone and everyone that loves rocks or needs a rock or whatever, get my Halo Rock 3 because it's not overstable. You can just make it do exactly what you want to do, and it has just a beautiful glide. So it is 100% one of my go-to discs that I throw all the time. And it instantly went from the box to my bag, and that is actually pretty rare. The other disc that did that was probably like the Toro and the Cayman. When they came out, they instantly went in the bag. It was just a slot that I didn't have filled. I have a lot of discs that I carry, whether in my grip bag or my Zuka or whichever. I carry a lot of discs, but majority of them are all the exact same. So I have like 6 destroyers. I may have 5 rocks, and I have a couple of Firebirds and a whole bunch of T-birds. But I don't, I've never thrown a Valkyrie. I've never thrown an Orc. I've never thrown a Beast. I've never thrown all these discs that, everyone loves. I've just never even thrown. I learned these discs that I continue to throw with. That's kind of what I've thrown the whole time. And I just really haven't worked in any other disc that I've needed. I make the disc that I have do what I want. The Mako 3 is a tool. The TL sometimes is a tool for me. And when I say that is like, I use those flippier discs for specific shots. And I can make that disc do kind of what I want that way. But for most of my shots, I would say 85% of them is I'm making kind of a stable disc do what I want. But as soon as the Cayman and Toro, I dialed them in perfectly. It's like a Firebird to me, but shorter distances. So my Toro goes 200, my Cayman goes 250, and my Firebird goes 300. And so about like if I put them on a Spike Kaiser. So, and I know I should throw that Spike Kaiser shot, that's what I can do with this disc and just dial in distances with them. So, but not too often do I put in just a brand new disc like that.
See, one of my favorites is a Roadrunner.
Yeah, I hardly ever.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's way too flippy for you.
No, it's not way too flippy. It's not. It's just one. I do put one in occasionally. I have a star and a champion that every now and then I get a course that I need that disc. And so
I recently lost my star, and I'm just like, gosh. Yeah. I found a Halo, and it's working. It's a lighter weight, so it's not going to be quite as overstable for me with my noodle arm. but I love that disc so much, and I can't believe someone never returned it when they found it.
Because I loved it too.
Well, what happened was I lost it at New London. Somebody found it, put it on top of a basket.
I
was on hole 8, so when I got to 17, I walked over to 2.
Oh no!
And it was gone.
Oh,
I mean, that's straight thievery.
That hurts. That's bad.
What is your favorite course?
Ooh, that's really hard. I get asked that a lot, and my answer is usually I haven't played it yet, because there are so many courses I haven't played, like over in Europe. I did get to go over to Finland last year with Paul Say. I went and recorded some videos with that company, some teaching instructional videos, and got to play a couple courses over there that were really pretty and fun. But I don't think I've played it. I always used to watch them play the Japan Open, and I really planned on going and then didn't when they finally had it again. But I always thought that course looked incredible, and they had this huge clubhouse that they played into that just, it was amazing. I probably just have a ton of favorite courses because the course and the people more than, and I have absolutely love playing Emerald because the distances are absolutely perfect for my T-bird and my rock. I throw my T-bird and my rock on so many shots, and the other ones are a couple destroyers like sprinkled in. So I have to say almost like Emerald's up there, even though it's a 9-hole course that you play forwards and you turn around and you play the other way. Um, it's one of my favorite courses. I feel at home there. Like it's I'm so at peace when I play that course. My brain shuts off and I just throw. And I even literally finally realized that. And so when I went to go play US Masters, like, or maybe throw pink, I can't remember it was before which one. I think it was US Masters. And I was like, I've got to learn to dial this in. This peace that I feel at the course, I've got to learn to take that wherever I am to play because
Mm-hmm.
I'm dialed in. I mean, I've hit back-to-back aces there. I've hit aces back-to-back days there. I've hit everything is just dialed in perfectly when I play that course. So it's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Chris wants to know, what about Maple Hill?
Maple Hill is I've only got to play it once, I think. Yeah, so East Coast is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. I would like to play it again. This year just was too much. Like I needed to get back and do some other things. So I didn't make it. And I wasn't trying to make the points finale, the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't play it to go get those points. But I would love to play that course again. But I think I only played it one time. But it's
See, that's
pretty. There's so many unique holes that you just can't get anywhere else. I loved hole 1. Being able to throw that shot and try to land it. Even when you think you land it perfect, you're behind a tree.
Yep.
But yeah, it's super cool. I'd like another chance at that one for sure.
So, were you there before they put the barn door there?
No, it was
On hole
after.
1? Oh,
Yeah, it
was
was
it?
after.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I,
all
I
that.
only
That's
I only
hilarious.
played it. I think the year before last. I
Okay.
think 23 was the only time I played that course.
What did you think about the 2 courses in Lynchburg?
I loved them. I thought it was a great. It's kind of like Utah, and I think there was one other World Championships that was kind of the same thing. We had a tight wooded course and we had
Mm-hmm.
an open ball golf course, and so it challenges every part of the game of disc golf. Right? You have to hit lines, you have to have placement shots, you have to stay within boundaries. And you have to have distance, but you also have to be able, like I said, to dial back and hit a landing zone that you need to hit. So I think it was an incredible test of all of our skills combined. It made a true winner kind of come to the top. And I thought they were beautiful. I thought Ivy Hill was probably one of the best ball golf courses we've ever been allowed to play on. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
place was stunning.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely beautiful, and those hills are incredible to be able to play. A little girl from Oklahoma. There was one course in Kansas, Blue Valley, that I'd play that I saw elevation for the first time, and I was like, "Holy moly, what is this? It's gorgeous." So it was just absolutely stunning. So I'd like to go back there. Well, I guess maybe for the finals next year.
Well, it's literally 5 miles from my house.
Oh, so pretty.
I mean, we got the views of the peaks of Otter around here. It's
Oh,
absolutely gorgeous.
yeah, that's so pretty for sure.
Yeah, I love New London. It took me a while to get to want to play that course, but now that I played it a few times, I really love it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're gonna be kind of messing it up soon.
I was gonna say, did they decide is that gonna have to go through no matter
Yeah,
what?
yeah, it's coming. I was talking to a guy the other day. They're gonna move like some of the holes up, and I'm just like, it's just not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
And Paul's apparently not going to help with the redesign because he's the one that
Pretty
really
upset.
designed it. Him and Kenny Palmer.
Yeah.
So
I felt like DeVilio, or not DeVilio, that's in Tulsa. Diablo
Mm-hmm.
that we played in Raleigh was maybe a little better. I don't know. I kind of liked it a little bit better than New London.
Mm-hmm.
But same kind of demanding course. But it was really fun.
Is it flat?
Not completely.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely. There's a little bit of elevation changes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's quite a bit of tight wooded shots,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's also some open shots that come into play, and then some really short a little short island right on the
Mhm.
water. That was very difficult. It was the only place I've ever lost the disc the whole time, multiple. Um, it was, yeah, it was mainly, it was only in practice trying to
Mhm.
figure out what would dial into that tiny little distance. But, um, and the island that we had to land on was on a complete slope, and I think it was inside circle. So it was like really difficult shot. But yeah, it was really challenging, but yet very fair as well. So
Yeah.
pretty
I'm next time I'm down that way, I'm gonna stay with
definitely,
one of my friends.
yeah, definitely should give it a try.
I'm gonna try that course, and then I'm gonna go over to Burlington because that's not far at all.
Yeah.
And I want to play all three of those courses on that property.
Yeah. I never looked at the other two. I just did commentary on them, but they
Mhm.
look fun. They look like
Mhm.
fun courses.
Yeah, my friend Rebecca and Brooke, they said that the course they played was really fun.
Yeah. It looked good.
So I definitely want to do that. Robbie C. Disc Golf, what's up, Robbie? How's it going, man? Just jumping in, would love to know what's her most underrated mold in the end of a lineup. Do not say pig.
No, I've never even thrown a pig.
Yes, me either.
Um,
I'm sorry, Robbie.
let's see. That I throw?
Well,
I throw
he
I
said,
know. I throw
like
so
in your
many
mind,
staples.
what's the most underrated?
Can I do like an old throwback to like the XD?
Oh,
I don't know. That just popped
you,
in my head.
you know what? You're allowed.
The Cobra, the XD, the Stingray. I mean, I honestly think some of those original discs were incredible.
Mhm.
Those are, those are some of the discs I used to play with back in the day. The Gazelle and the Cheetah, you know, were some of my first couple of discs. But I actually, okay, I'll throw this one out there. I'm gonna jump on the Rolo gang. I got to throw the Rolo for the first time up in Vegas. It was a friend of ours. And I was like surprised. It was like a 167. Yeah, thank you. I didn't even really, I don't remember if I aimed or if I just threw it, but it went
Mhm.
I mean, it hit the guy's feet that I was throwing. And we both rolled it back and forth to each other multiple times. And it went right to each of us
Mhm.
every time. I was like, okay, you win. I'll try. Like, and so that is going to be one of the discs I'm going to actually work on trying out this off season,
I
because
was
there's a
wondering.
few holes that you really need a roller disc.
Mhm.
Sunset being one of those courses. Like, there were multiple holes that the only way to really get progress up the fairway would have been a roller, and I didn't have one. So, which is why I was trying it out in the parking lot. But yeah, I'm super excited to try the Rolo. So
Wow, it's going to be really fun to see that in your bag now.
the most understable disc out there. And I've told other people to try it. Cheryl Newland, who I mentioned,
Mhm.
so she came back. She is, I'm not going to tell a beautiful woman's age, but
You never
she
do.
doesn't have a ton of power. Now, I will say she when she first came back to play, she only played 9 holes and quit the tournament because she couldn't walk it. Like, she wasn't ready to play.
Mhm.
Since then, that was November, by February, I think the next year, she played her first 3-round event ever in her life. Now, granted, this lady's been playing since like 76, right? But she'd
Mhm.
never played a 3-round event. And so she has made it so far just on her own physical health of being to actually play a full event. She has one knee replaced, one knee that needs it. She's like 4'8". Okay, I'm gonna throw in her height is 4'8". Um, so everything we gave her at first was going, and this is totally different plastic. They used to play with the trash can lids, right? Like, they weren't playing with the beveled edge when she started playing. And
Mhm.
so she used to do all the cool trick shots. So she had to learn these totally new foreign object in her hand, and everything was super stable going left. And so I was like, let's try Rolo. And it didn't roll. Now she can. Now she can roll it. But at first, it was the only disc that we could get to fly straight, and then hyzer for her.
Mhm.
So I very quickly, I do a lot of teaching in elementary schools. And I was like, this is perfect for kids, for young kids with slow arm speed, or someone beginner, maybe older, whatever, that has a very, very slow arm speed. This is a great disc to get a lot of good straight glide. It's a slower go straight kind of disc, unless you put a little more torque on it, and then you make it the name and it's going to roll. So super fun.
See, for me, I always tell people a Stingray when
Yeah,
they first
I
starting,
definitely threw out the Stingray as well. That's an incredible disc.
or a Shark. Those are some that I'm like, yeah, those are really good beginner discs.
Yeah, I never really
Um,
threw the Shark, but it is up there too.
oh yeah, one of my friends when I first got going, he swore by it. So I
That's
gave it a
what
shot.
Swebby shot his course record at Buckhorn. I think he throws like a shark on. I think he was like it's a 1986 shark on every hole. So yeah,
Okay, all right. Speaking of that, technology, how much has it changed the game in
a
the
lot.
last, gosh, how many years?
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly the discs fly faster and longer, and we, I'll stick with just Innova. Sorry. Dave continues to use his brilliant mind to engineer different discs to do different things, right? Like his mind is just constantly going of what can I create and
Hmm.
how can I make it fly differently and what can I change? And so they just continue to be able to make discs that do different things, fly different speeds, and then we're learning more and more and more, right? And so we're getting stronger and we're dialing in techniques and things like that. But definitely these discs fly farther than the disc did back in the day. So
Hmm.
technology has definitely improved.
Yeah. I mean, um, I thought when I asked Juliana, she was like, "Well, back in the day,
And she's
she
great to tell you exactly what it was.
yeah, she was like, we could the separation from MPO and FPO was a lot less based on the technology,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now it's miles apart."
Yeah, I try to tell people that when they you get on the hot topic of distance and blah 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 and men and
Hmm.
women and
Hmm.
whatever. I won't go down that road, but I will say on my soapbox of that is, yes, I can throw farther than a lot of men. Sure, do it every day, right? I've done it pregnant. I still have a guy in Oklahoma that comes up to me, "You beat me 8 months pregnant." Sorry, but it happens. I'm sure Kat did the same thing. So,
Yes.
yes, I can throw farther than most men, but if you compare us women that have the longest distance, on average, sure, we're in the middle of the pack of throwing it better than some of the men. But compare us to the farthest distance thrower of the men, and we're night and day different,
Yep.
hundreds and hundreds of feet. So it's hard. I hate when they start doing that comparison of that we're the same, because we're not. If you compare the elite on each, they're hundreds of feet apart. So
Hmm. Yep. Um, I guess let's see. Oh yeah, Chris had a question. Um,
ooh.
like what extremes like rain? Because for me, I always talk
Is
rain
this what I
versus
like?
wind.
Is this what I like or don't like?
Either way,
I kind of love them both.
because if you say which one you don't like, we will know which one you do like.
No, I kind of love them both. I feel like those are like two of the things that I am kind of trained to play in.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah, Arizona, yes.
well, yeah, but even the humidity in Oklahoma that we
Yeah.
had to play with was hot as heck. And so, and then the wind. I love when it's windy. I love when it's windy to
That's not
throw disc.
kryptonite.
Oh, I love it. Like it got windy this weekend on the last few holes, and I was like, okay. And I know what to do most of the time. I mean, you can get some wind pockets that are going to totally
Oops.
be kind of crazy and not do what it's
Hmm.
supposed to do, but I can make the disc do different things if I have a lot of wind to go against. If you know the physics of how the disc is supposed to fly and what the wind is going to do and the angle that you need to put it on in that wind, you can do so much cool things with it. Putting, yeah, putting's hard. Putting sucks. But I think wind is a great, equalizer. Heat as well. You have to be physically ready to tolerate all that. I would say I do not like playing in the rain. I hate messing with drying the towels, and there's so much extra crap to carry around, and the umbrella and all that. That's when I don't mind a caddy. Like, I'm like, whatever. There's a few people that I'm kind of getting consistent with at different events having a caddy at. I'm just as fine carrying my own bag or cart. But if it's raining, I'm like, anybody? Yeah. I hate playing in the rain. So I don't want to slip. I don't want to fall. I don't, it's just, there's just so much extra.
Well, for me, I'm quite sweaty. So if it's really hot, my hands are wet.
Yeah.
So if it's raining, my hands are wet.
Yeah. I don't really ever deal with that. Is something I know, like Hannah and Evelina have really sweaty hands. They always love the dirt bags or whatever. And I'm usually just rubbing dirt I like them a little slicker, maybe. I don't know. But I don't ever really have the sweaty palms at all. So I don't know what that's like.
All right, let me ask you one question about Hannah, because you know Hannah. Does she actually kiss her disc before she throws them?
I think you're thinking of Holly. Holly does where she blows hot air on it.
Hannah, she will get the disc and she will bring it up.
No, she didn't kiss her disc.
Huh?
I would say no, that she does not kiss her disc. I can ask her. I'll text her right now. Ask me another question.
Well, I'm sure she's asleep by now, don't you think? In Europe?
It's 5 a.m. She may not be up yet.
Well, if you do, tell her I said hey, and I would love to have her on the podcast. Her and Evelina both.
I'll ask her though. Okay, keep going.
I'm pretty much at the end, but when you finally decide it's time to hang it up on the Pro Tour, and they said you get to pick your final card, who would you pick to be on your final card?
Oh, wow.
I get that reaction a lot.
Yeah, that's really tough. I have a handful that I definitely always absolutely love playing with. Hannah and Evelina are definitely two of those that I love. I have to throw in Cat Merch, my girl, as well as Macy. Macy and I absolutely love every round I get to play with Macy as well. And then I'd also throw in Kristen, because not only is she, an icon, but just the person that she is. So the people that I pick are probably just because, actually only really because they're great people. And they always have a positive vibe, if you want to call it, or attitude on the course. And they're very genuine. So when someone says good shot, that they truly mean it. Even if that shot beats them in the round, they still, I would say a pretty good group of us that we are genuinely trying to cheer you on. If I beat you, it's because I threw a good shot, right? But if I still see you throw a good shot, I'm going to say that's a great shot, because it is, right? And so there's those women that you play with that you truly know when they tell you good job that they really truly mean it with their heart. And those women, I think, are at the top of my list. I'm sure there's a few more that I've missed and I love to also play with. I love playing with Haley King as well. She is also one of those that I truly know that she wants the best for me and I want the best for her as well. And so she's also up there on I love to play with.
Some good people. You're going to have a big final card.
I know. I mean, I really could keep going. I want Tita on it. If I put all my favorites on there, JK, Des, can I put everybody?
I was actually going to say you could actually do like a older version, a newer version.
Yeah. I would really, actually, that's how it would have to be. I would have to have a couple of different generations, generational cards. And I would love to have a guy, I have a group of guys that I absolutely love playing with, and that are always genuinely there as well. And there's some awesome men on tour as well, not just the women. So
Yeah. As you were talking, I thought of another question because I always do
okay.
that. When you talked about how much a lot of the women are very supportive of each other.
Mhm.
Do you notice that it's a lot different on the FPO to the MPO? 'Cause
Um,
I see the FPO. I mean, they seem like anytime a shot is thrown, it's like everyone is so happy for one another.
we try. I think we genuinely try. Not
Yeah,
everyone.
and I don't think it's an act. I think it's
No, that's what I'm
you
saying.
guys really do want to see
We
that.
genuinely try to do that. I
Mhm.
think a lot of us do.
And I see
I think
some of
the
the guys
guys
there are times
do
like if
too.
somebody throws a good shot, they're almost upset.
I wouldn't say upset, but I don't think the guys are just not as emotional, right?
Mhm.
Like women are emotional. We have a lot more estrogen, they have a lot more testosterone. It's kind of how it works. And so I think our hormones make us more involved and caring, where the men are out there to get a job done. Not
Yeah,
saying that we're not. We
yeah.
want to get a job done as well. Um, and those that are really good and at the top are able to dial that in and focus to get the task done.
Mhm.
Hush. I don't know what we're barking at over here, but hey, no one's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're seeing a ghost outside. It's pitch black. But
Well, it was just Halloween.
yeah. So oh God, I'm so sorry for all the Halloween lovers. I dislike Halloween because any kid that rings the doorbell, my dogs go psycho. So
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I don't turn my light on. I'm sorry. I did have candy, thankfully, just in case, because little kids start a little early before they know that the light's on or off. And so thankfully I had a few suckers and stuff to hand out for the little guys who rang the doorbell no matter what. But holy cow, my dogs go crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm not a Halloween fan.
And we don't
Um,
even have trick or treaters here anymore.
oh wow.
They all go to
Um,
the mall or churches and
yeah,
stuff now.
yeah, that
So
makes sense. But
can't
yeah, I
blame
think
them.
the men just are out there to get their job done
Hmm.
and more just dialed in focus. I think all the guys are great front, not all of them. I mean,
Hmm.
clearly there's extremes, but um, they're just different, right? Guys
Yeah.
can like get mad at each other, punch each other in the face, and be like, "Hey, you want to go have a beer?"
I train mixed martial arts. I know this is
Women,
true.
yeah, women will be like, "Oh my God, you looked at me wrong, and we're not going to speak for 5 years." So I just think we're just different, and so I think the guys are totally fine with each other out
Mhm.
there. They're just not as emotional on the course as we are. They're out there to do their job, and maybe we would throw better if we did that more. Who knows? But I think that's why you just see us cheering each other on a little bit more, because
Mhm.
we kind of carry our hearts on our sleeves a little more.
Are there any rules that you would change?
Hmm. Um. Ask me when I want one change. Like if I'm in the moment, I'd be like, this is it. I thought the rolling back around the Mando was a little weird at first, just because like as soon as that rule was changed, I played Daylaw and saw it happen. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
bogus.
Yeah.
And it happened to be actually at the memorial. And what's awful is you can't see, right? Like we couldn't see which way it rolled around the line. And so
Hmm.
you just have to kind of be like, you know. So that one's a little weird. I do get it. I understand what they were trying to do there, and it is a safe space that you're trying to stay away from. So I understand it, but that was one that was a little strange to me at first. I don't know. I try just to follow them. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it would be nice to be able to move a stick or a rock in front of you
Hmm.
versus behind. I like to do a lot of jump putts, and there's been a couple times I'm like very afraid that I might land on a rock and roll my ankle or something like that. So I think for safety, I wish that you could move that. I know that that would get way out of hand, I'm sure, if we
Yeah.
did. But I think for safety, that's always one that I'm kind of like, I wish I could move that. The hanging dead branches or the hanging branch, like that one can't be moved either if it's in front of you. So that kind of stinks when people break a branch or whatever and it's all hanging in front. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just like follow whatever they tell me to do, and I don't think about it much.
I know Casey White, when they changed the rule a few years back, when you could only clear out a spot where your feet were.
Yeah, but they fixed that, so now it's okay.
Yeah, but he was like, well, they said you can sweep out anything that's in your way. He said, he would just lay down and just sweep.
Yeah, we all did. I mean, think how we feel with being 5'4".
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get to clear this much. Gannon gets to clear 2 more feet. Like, that's not fair. So yeah, that one, we were all annoyed with that, and so very thankful that one was fixed.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, when I heard that, I was like, that's just the dumbest rule.
Yeah, and it's just trying to kind of reword stuff better, and then it kind of got messed up, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like Nate Sexton, he also said that the rolling back around the Mando, he didn't like that either.
Yeah, it's one just because it's like you understand it, but you've seen it happen a few times, and you're like, I should not be penalized for that. I made the Mando.
Yep.
Like I said, day law is really easy one to just kind of look at and be like, that's kind of silly.
I saw somebody at day law. They had like a rollaway that went like half a mile. It looked like
it can. That's the first place, and I love that rule of being able just to re-putt, take my stroke and re-putt from where I was, because that happened to me as well as many other people at the top. I think it's like hole 26 or whatever. I don't know what the actual number is when you play. It depends on which way you're playing it. But up at the top, you hit that basket, and I went over 2 roads. Like I went, we got the disc like a day later. So you just have to re-putt. So that's a great rule. And we saw that at Ivy on the sloped basket.
Yeah, hole 14.
So same thing.
James Proctor.
Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one. There was
I think Angela also had one as well. But Proctor's, I always tell people when people post that on Facebook, I was like, that disc was tired and just wanted to go home.
It was brutal to watch for sure. It should have never happened.
I mean, Proctor, is it just me? Is he one of the nicest guys ever?
Yep. So he's one of the ones, like I said, there's a few handful. I would say Nate Sexton's in on that group, as well as Nate Doss. There's a few of those guys that have kind of wear their heart on the sleeve too, that are very caring. And those are the ones that you see, like the women that are genuinely cheering on other people. Zach Melton, another player and Eric Oakley. Eric can, I guess, kind of go a little. He cheers on everybody else. He gets a little hard on himself, but
that he does.
So, but he genuinely also wants other people to do well, and he's an emotional player. So I think that's the difference. It's not that the men don't care and aren't trying to be nice on their cards like the women are. I just think we show our emotions differently.
Have any of y'all ever thrown a flying side kick against the tree after a bad shot?
Side kick?
Nico.
No.
Yeah, I would tell you the honest truth. I'm a big fan of Nico.
Yeah, for sure.
And what he's changed so much from, I'm not there watching him.
He's growing up. He's getting
since a little thing in Europe. But since then, I mean, he seems like a really good guy.
Yeah. I've been able to watch him play since way back in the early 2000s in St. Louis when he was known as Nico.
He had a huge head of hair.
Yeah, so I've known Nico for a very long time, and he has a big heart as well.
Best hair on the FPO tour, and why is it Rebecca Cox?
You didn't even let me answer.
She is awesome. I love Rebecca.
Yeah, she does have beautiful hair. I think we probably have a lot of women who have beautiful hair. That's hard. I've never really thought about it. Rebecca's hair is amazing.
What do y'all talk about when y'all are in a round? Do y'all actually talk about disc golf? Just whatever?
Yeah, a little bit of disc golf. We try not to, though. We don't really want to think about that at the time. So we talk about other stuff. So.
Oh gosh, I know I keep asking questions because I keep thinking of random stuff.
I know my kid's like, food.
Oh, okay. If you need to go, that's totally cool. Totally cool. I've kept you way too long anyway.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We'll go one more. What's one last question?
Um, well, I just thought of this when you were talking about when we were just talking about people talking and what they do. Did you ever play with Ella Hansen when she had this card game that she would play in the like when they had
Oh, the
backups?
picture card. Yeah, I have that card for my kids. Yeah, that's a fun card game. That one is fun.
That was
We love our card games at home. My favorite game. We like that one with my kids. We used to play it when they were younger, but because my son loves the picture. What the heck was the name? We had to find all the pictures, hidden pictures in a puzzle. There was lots of different pieces. I can't think of the name of it. Picture something, but
well, it was Pictionary.
no. This is different. This is
Yeah.
boards like kind of like I Spy. It's kind of just like that, but there's like 4 different boards, and you flip them over, and you draw a card, and you have to find, and it changes shapes and sizes and everything.
Oh,
So it's super fun.
that's not fun.
Yeah, we played that a lot. But our favorite go-to games now is probably Skip-Bo and Phase 10. So we like our family card game nights for sure.
Nice. You ever play hacky sack? Like Haley?
A little, not really. Not a ton.
I wonder if she still does that in backups. But anyway.
I bet she does.
Anyway, thank you so much for
You're very welcome.
all
Glad
this.
the computer started working finally. So
Yeah, it's funny that it hasn't messed up in like an hour now.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, we've been trying to do this for get this going for a long time, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And I would love to have you back on sometime. And more importantly, I hope you had fun.
Thank you. I did. I did. Hopefully something very fun and exciting happens in 2025, and we can recap that.
Yes. It's funny you say that because that's kind of like my next goal in life is to do like weekly like after tournaments, having a couple players on and talking about doesn't not even have to be who won, just talk about the events. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I
personally, I kind of miss our PDGA radio podcast. I never listened to podcasts previously before I was a co-host of one. It was the first podcast I ever listened to, and I miss it, and we're trying to figure out another way to kind of do that for the PDGA for next year. So,
well, if you need a host that's not very good, I'm your guy.
I was kind of like, I had a few little names I threw out there to him. I was like, what about this guy?
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And if you were in town for the Players Championship next year, let's go over to Peaksview Park and get in around.
Okay, sounds good.
It's the baby course of the area.
Awesome. I'll bring my putters.
And everybody, check out the links below. Zuka, two different discs. Which ones was it?
Yeah, so if you go over to the Innova Pro Shop and you want to do that really quickly because it is almost the start of a new year, which means we'll have new tour series coming, and they will not ever make these again. So like I said, I fell in love with this rock. I will be personally purchasing many more to keep because I will never have the chance to get another one. And the Proto Glow T-Bird this year was the brightest. I just did a video and posted it. Go and check that out on Halloween to show the difference of how much the glow has improved. And I literally, when I first got that disc, I lit it up for a picture, put it down, went to bed, got up at like 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and it was like still glowing. I was like, whoa. So the new Proto Glow is absolutely ridiculous. So if you like night golf, this T-Bird is super flat. So all you forehand lovers probably will absolutely love it. It is also very stable. It's a little more stable than the last 2 previous years. So it's a very stable, very flat T-Bird that has a crazy glow, and it will not be made ever again after December 31st, maybe a little bit before then. So go over to the Innova Pro Shop and place your order for this year's T-Bird. And I will say it was probably my favorite art we've ever done. A little backstory on that. I am Native American. I'm Cherokee Indian for my mother and my father. And so I've always done tribal art on my T-Bird. And this year was just a little special to me. I lost my mother. So the Indian's looking up into heaven. So, sorry. I don't know what I'll do for this year, the next 25's art, but this year was very special to me. So check that out. Also, I have an awesome Zuka cart that you can purchase, and Zuka supports me so much, and so much of that proceeds from that card goes directly to me, and they take care of me on tour all year long, and then grip as well. And if you use the code Gen10, you can get 10% off on any grip bag or any purchase that you make. So all those sponsors have always been so good to me for so many years. So I love them all, and I would not be here without them. So big shout out to all of them.
And we have some links down below. So go get those discs, get the Zuka card, and just get out there and play.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And you got anything else?
That's it. I cried. Let's
go. That's the first person that's cried on here.
It's crazy. Like, you can go forever without, I mean, not forever, but like I've gotten to where I can talk about my mother so much and so easy, and just every now and then something like just makes you so.
I lost my mom in September 2022, and I told somebody I went and got some Krispy Kremes because she loved Krispy Kremes.
Yep.
And I went to take them to her, and this was like 4 months later.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
I buy myself flowers every week. My mom loved flowers, so they're just little things that you just every little hummingbird, every yellow flower, every yellow butterfly. So yeah, they're always with us, but it gets easier.
That's right. That's right. In time.
Yep.
We never forget, but it gets a little easier.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all we got. And you guys have an incredible day.
Thank you.
Thank you.